Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Today I want to talk to you about what I always talk about, knowledge. But I want to do it from a particular perspective that we are very much used to, is to come to knowledge from the point of view of thinking, the epistemology of, as they say, of thinking. What is thinking? How do we think? We have said in previous occasions that science doesn't think, and this is a very bold statement, because practically it makes every book, every guide that we have today a non-thinking book or guide. This is very important because we ultimately have a responsibility with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's very important that we follow His commands correctly, and for that we definitely need to think. A good way of coming into the matter of thinking is by realizing what is not thinking. So thinking is thinking about the truth. Not thinking is when you do not think the truth. If you cannot think the truth, you cannot think. And any thinking which is based on something which is not the truth is a wonderful speculation, or disastrous speculation, depending where it leads you. But in all accounts, is deceiving yourself, because you are taking for truth something which is not. So that non-thinking is deception itself. So how is it that then you think the truth? Well, what you know is that you cannot define the truth. So any attempt to define the truth, to constrain the truth within the parameters of speech or reason, will be a deception. Of course you can do it. You can transform God into a concept. But that's not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the attempt of reducing Him to a concept is the business of theology, the science of God. Once you transform into a logos that you can think, that you can understand, that you lost it. But it doesn't mean that we don't know anything about Him. So what our teachers have told us is that you cannot define Allah, so speak of Him the way He has spoken about Himself. So we take the way He describes Himself as the way in which we talk of Him. So, HuwaAllahu, Lamyalid, walam yakullahu, kufuwan. And we know la ilaha illallah. And we know la hawla walam quwata illa billah. And we know so many things. And these descriptions that Allah has given of Himself, these is how we approach the truth. Then the process of thinking comes in reverse. We don't start thinking in order to arrive to the truth, but we start from the truth, and we come back to everything else that we don't know. So what we take for granted is the absolutely unquestionable, the axis of our thinking is la ilaha illallah. This is absolutely the center. This is the unquestionable truth. La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. So from there on, then you start thinking. And thinking is to put that, being this at the center of everything, and looking through it into the world then you start seeing things. The things start disappearing. And other things, they start falling apart because they don't make sense. And other things, they start being illuminated through it. Now, coming to have access to relate to the truth, which it cannot contain the brain, there is another instrument, there is another formula to reach to, which has nothing to do with the rational faculty of calculating or putting data or making statements, but with two other faculties, which are also very human: love and fear. You relate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you relate to Him through love of Him and through fear of Him. And this is not in your head, this is in your heart. Then Tasawwuf says to you, surrender to Him completely and utterly. And once you have acquired that condition, then you start to know. So the pillar, the center for us, we don't think outside the boundaries of certainty. Certainty is the skeleton of our thinking. We think upon certainty. We don't speculate. That's why the people in our school have said, we are people of no opinion. So you refuse to have an opinion in favor of building up upon certainty. So upon this certainty, then you build up what needs to be done. If when you have acquired certainty upon la ilaha illallah, then la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, la hawla wa quwata illa bilLah, then you take the commands as they come. Of this time and because of the times that we are living in and the conditions we find ourselves in, it is important that the people know that Riba is haram. But once you know that Riba is haram, you know this thing not out of practical necessity, you know this thing out of certainty. You do not come to the conclusion that Riba is haram by thinking what happens to the economy. Okay? Like you don't come to the conclusion that you have to play 5 times a day by thinking about your health, or thinking about your spiritual condition, or thinking, if it's good for my kidneys actually do that movement. And then you analyze how many, you don't arrive to the conclusion. But you could, and because certainly there will be benefits in everything that you do, which is prescribed and ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you don't arrive there out of practical necessity. Practical necessity cannot replace the truth. You cannot build your realities and what is necessary and what it needs to be done based on need, but based on the truth. If you based the direction of what you need to do based on your need, you will end up with a world deformed by your necessities. You have to build it upon the truth. Now this is certainty. Certainty. Now, when you understand Riba is haram, imagine how much of the knowledge that is acquired within those society goes away. How much of the stuff disappears. How much of the speeches of your president become absolutely absurd. How much of the reality of the world that we are conforming, we live in, is completely absurd. And only just with one statement such as this, you are almost left with 1% of the reality with any validity at all. The order of things as it is presented to you appears to be utterly and completely false. And this is the la ilaha part of the story. But then it comes ilaAllah. How do we then, having understood what it disappears, what comes forward? What is the thinking that comes? And the thinking is an impulse directed with the heart. So when what comes to your heart, what is in your heart, is fear of Allah. When what is in your heart is love of Allah, then you find yourself with courage to look at things. You find yourself with the ability to think. And what is to think that comes from the heart? Is once you understand Riba is haram, you do not build your life around this condemnation of Riba, but not around it, but you live it at the center of it. If this is haram, then this is the absolute certainty of my life, and then I build around that. If I need to have a community, then I build it upon the building of a community, and everything goes around it. If we come to the conclusion that Riba is haram, and you follow in the understanding of what is required, and then you find yourself with the difficulties of this cannot be done because we don't have coins, for example. We cannot pay zakat according to the Sunnah because we don't have coins. And then because we don't have coins, we don't do anything. That's not thinking. Thinking is, if you don't have the coins, you make the coins. Then you have the coins, but then you say, but we don't have the shops to accept it. Then we say, oh, therefore we cannot move. But thinking is to say, if we don't have the shops, then we make the shops that accept the gold. If the shops don't have a facility to safekeep the gold, therefore the shops that cannot join in, then you make a facility of safekeeping the wadia. If you need a payment system, you make a payment system, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So the difficulties become your indication. It is already telling you what to do.